This is a brief video about the square aspect in evolutionary astrology. In EA, the square is the aspect that can bring about the most growth due to planets in the square essentially having nothing in common and therefore being in conflict with one another. I like what Stephen Forrest says about squares because I found it to be true in my own life. In his book, The Inner Sky, he writes, "The planets in square are natural enemies, and when they fight, there is a loser, a part of our humanity, aka one of the 10 planets or psychic functions, that is wounded or possibly even destroyed." This type of dynamic either leads to healing and transcendence or destruction, which are just two sides of the same coin. When we have parts of our being that are at odds with each other, we are always left transformed by such an experience, whether for better or for worse. We can either transmute the pain and suffering of the parts of us that need healing, or we can choose to repress these wounded parts until one or more of them end up in dysfunction. Being someone who's experienced an ego death or two in my life now, I find Forrest's description of the square as being capable of causing destruction of one or more parts of the psyche as something interesting to contemplate on, because as we know, destruction is always the breeding grounds for either new or renewed forms of life to take place. In my view and in my personal experience, squares in the birth chart can act as catalysts for the awakening and evolution of consciousness itself. Said another way, the tension and psychic turmoil produced by squares can literally birth new or upgraded forms of conscious awareness into existence. A contribution that Jeffrey Wolf Green made to EA regarding the square is of course the concept of what he calls a skip step, which happens when one or more planets square the north and south nodes of the moon. I have a video dedicated solely to the skip step and how to understand it on this channel if you're interested in learning more about it. Skip steps in a chart signify past life trauma, and because we can't grow and evolve without facing and healing these traumas, they are one of the first things I look at when reading a chart. What squares do you have in your own chart? What parts of your being are at war with each other? If this is a question that interests you, comment on this video with 2 planets you have in square aspect, along with what signs and houses these planets are in, and I'll reply with a free mini analysis of your personal square. Please only comment with planets you have in square aspect and not squares to the nodes, as analysis of skip steps is too complex to do via a reply comment on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and may you grow and heal on your personal journey.